Okay, so I get a ton of questions about what is it that I actually do, and based on my social media and stuff, I can see how that would be very confusing and why so many people ask and are interested because I never really talk about work, and that's because my work doesn't feel like work. And then also, all the things I post, I guess to most people, look like a lot of fun, so it just seems like I'm never working, which is what a lot of my friends would say. So I'm here at Tim's Harley Davidson in Anderson, South Carolina right now, and this is one of my main jobs. So I do content creation and social media management for both of the Tim's Harley Davidson dealerships. So the one here in Anderson, South Carolina, and the one in Augusta, Georgia. So basically what that means is I go in and shoot photos of bikes, the clothing, get shots in service, get shots of the different parts, and just kind of curate their social media to give it the feel that they're looking for. I also do, for the Anderson location, I do their website. So anytime they get new bikes in, I'll take them out of the dealership. We've got a spot where we take all the pictures for the website. Same thing when they get used bikes for trade-ins. I will take those up to the same spot, get a couple pictures. Now, a job like this does come with a lot of the perks that you would probably expect it to, meaning I get to ride all kinds of different Harleys all the time without having to own or pay for one, which is awesome. I've owned tons of bikes in the past. I do enjoy motorcycle ownership. However, with this arrangement, it just doesn't make a lot of sense for me to make a bike payment or pay the insurance or any of that when realistically, although I have a lot of free time, which is a word I don't really like to use a lot, I have a lot of time I can do whatever I please with. I can't justify just taking off and riding as much as I would like to. So another reason this arrangement works out really well. And that's not the only reason that I took this job. So I used to work at another dealership, and then I came to work here at Tim's at the Anderson location, and it really felt like home. These people feel like a family. So when I come here, you know, I get to see all my friends. We kind of goof off and pick on each other and give each other a hard time. But Tim's has always been really good to me, you know, not just letting me ride bikes, but all the management, the owner, you know, all the staff, everybody is great and really fun to work with. So it never really feels like work. So when you add like the coolness factor of the Harleys and motorcycle thing, combined with the friendships and fun that I get to have with that, it's a very, very enjoyable job. So I thought I would give you guys kind of a quick tour and a rundown of what my day would look like here. So when I come in, it depends on if I'm doing pictures for the website or if I'm doing pictures for social media. So today I'm doing pictures for the website. I like to come when the dealership is closed. They're closed on Sunday, Monday. So I can come in here, take bikes in and out, and not disrupt the flow of traffic. So with that, I do that kind of stuff on Sunday or Monday, and then I would come here, like I would come Tuesday through Saturday if I need to get lifestyle shots or I want to do shots for social media, because I'd like for some people to be here. The floor is kind of a mess right now, and that's because I've been moving a lot of stuff around to get photos, and then I'll straighten it up a little bit before I leave so that I don't create unnecessary work for the salesman. But this is just kind of a quick little tour around the dealership. Normally these are outside because they're so big, they take up so much room. Obviously, at the end of the day, we bring them in so they don't ride away on their own. Just a bunch of offices and stuff upstairs. But this is the dealership. Tons of bikes. Really cool bike right here that the owner built for his dad that was originally his grandfather's. So kind of 3 generations of bike going on here. You can check out their social media, Tim's Harley Davidson, on Instagram, and you can see, if you scroll down a little bit, you can see a video that I put together that kind of tells you a lot of the little details of this bike. You can see here, that's his grandfather, Charles. Pretty awesome bike. Again, check out that video because there's a lot of detail that went into it that you won't notice really until it's pointed out. Just a lot of touches of all 3 generations kind of put into the one bike. this is the clothing department. So helmets, t-shirts, glasses, shoes, boots, hats, vests, anything Harley you can think of to wear, they've got it. And then one thing that's big with Harley people is the destination shirts. Sorry, the light's off here. Like I said, nobody's here today except me. So these are your destination shirts, which mean it has their logo on the back of them. People that are traveling from out of town or whatever, they like to stop at the Harley dealerships and collect shirts from all the different dealerships, which is pretty awesome. Sorry for the shaky video, walking kind of fast. This is a parts department. Any parts you need, it's a whole team that hangs out back there. They'll get you set up with exhaust, handlebars, whatever you want for your bike. They've got it. Got a bunch of cool displays so you can kind of see what it is you're getting before you get it, which is nice and cool. One thing this dealership has that a lot of others don't is a built-in barber shop, Parlor 48, which is pretty awesome. Again, I wish people were here right now so we could see it in action, but pretty rad place to get your hair cut. Jen does a great job, so if you're in the area, stop by, get a haircut from her. Probably one of the coolest environments that you could get your haircut in. Again, I apologize. This is probably going to be a little dark, but let me get the lights here. Okay, so again, this is the service department, and typically it doesn't look like this. These are all either customer bikes or the dealership's used inventory that we put up at night. You know, again, we have to have somewhere to put them. So this is your service department, and then we won't kind of go back there, but that's where all the techs work. Anything you're having done to your bike, everything gets done back there, and they can do literally any and everything. So if you need anything done to your Harley, bring it up here to Tim's. They'll take good care of you. But that's been a really quick tour of the dealership, kind of give you a rundown of what I do, what it looks like inside. Pretty cool gig. So as far as this being something that I do make money from this podcast. You can make a lot of money from podcasts. I'm sure everybody's talking about the whole Joe Rogan, Spotify, $100 million deal. Ads are the number one way that podcasts make money. There are other ways. Ads are number one. So the way it works is you talk about a sponsored, product or whatever it is, the beginning, middle, or end of your podcast. The middle pays the most. I hate those because it interrupts the show. I know a lot of bigger shows do it. I've got, friends that do it. Nothing against that. It's just not for me. It interrupts the flow. I'll only do beginning, like we call them, pre-roll ads. And that's because I don't think anyone's really going to listen to the ad at the end. They can tell the episode's over and they can just shut it off. And same thing at the beginning, man. Like I'm bad about doing it too. Is I'll just fast forward through the ads. Sometimes I do listen, but to be honest, I'm just listening to hear how other podcasters do their ads, so I can decide what I like and what I don't like and what makes the ad better. Because at the end of the day, no matter how relevant that product is to what I think my target demographic, what my listeners are, it's still somewhat of a watering down of the product, I feel like. So anytime I can avoid doing an ad, I do, which means the podcast makes no money on that episode, which is fine. Because really the podcast for me is kind of a selfish thing, to be honest. I do it because I'm able to have conversations with people that I might not normally have access to. For example, the time this goes up, my last guest will probably have been Spencer Brown, who's a younger kid from the UK who trains Muay Thai in Thailand at the Yukow facility where Saenchai trains. Saenchai being probably the most well-known, well-respected Thai fighter there is. 350 plus or more fights, roughly 300 wins out of those. So super legitimate. Spencer's a guy I followed on social media for a long time. Big fan of his fighting style, and I'm able to just hit him up and say, "Hey man, I've got a podcast. Would you want to come on and we'll chat?" And I'm very fortunate that typically when I do that, people are very receptive and they're happy to do it, which is awesome. But then also with my friends, it's selfish in that way too, is because I've found that it's the best way to have a real meaningful conversation with one of your close friends because, for example, Travis Williams, who I had on 2 or 3 episodes ago, really good friend of mine, don't get to see each other as much as we'd like for one. But two, if I would have called Travis and said, "Hey man, let's catch up, let's do lunch sometimes," there's a lot of distractions when you try to do that. So if we go to lunch, we've got the waiter or waitress coming over, filling up drinks, we're conversating with them, which isn't a bad thing, but it does interrupt our conversation. Someone else could be having a conversation next to us just super loud, or there could be a baby crying somewhere, off in the distance, just distracting. But with the podcast, you put on headphones, it kind of blocks out all the external noise. You're in each other's ear. You're sitting across the table, looking face to face. And to me, that's the best way to have a conversation. Obviously, cell phones are put away, no distractions whatsoever. And you're able to really tune in and listen. And I feel like that's something that we don't really get to do, or we choose not to do. Most people are just texting back and forth, or quick calls, or just don't make the time, period. So the podcast has been selfish to me, in my opinion, for those reasons, but it's by far the most enjoyable thing that I do. And that's why for me it was really important to put the money part of it aside. Like I said, there is still some money coming in. So if you hear me talking about an ad or talking about a product on the podcast, just know that it's a company that I probably bought or used or did whatever way before they were a sponsor of the podcast. And a lot of them, I still pay and buy the products just like you do, even though I'm promoting them. We won't get into too much of the business end of how all that works. If you're curious, or you've got a podcast, or you want to start a podcast, or you just want to know, feel free to hit me up and I can explain it to you. I will never talk about anything that I don't like, and that's one reason why the podcast isn't my only job, is I turn down probably 90% of the offers I get for sponsorships of the podcast. I don't think the product's a good fit for my listeners, or I just genuinely don't like the product, or the company, has bad reviews online about customer service or whatever. And I never want to lose trust with my listeners on, promoting something bad or something that's not good or something that I don't genuinely use myself or think is valuable. So with that, I kind of like to leave the podcast pure and not have to be forced to make money from it, which would make me make decisions that I may not make otherwise. So although this is the main thing I do, not the main source of income, but again, the most enjoyable thing I do by far. So that's been it, guys. I was a little bit lost, to be honest, on this whole vlog thing. I made probably 3 or 4 edits, watched them back, didn't like them. I felt like I was trying to compile too many different random things that didn't really flow together into one video in an attempt to make it more interesting. So I thought this would be a good first video, or a good place to start, just to give you guys, whoever's watching and doesn't know me or doesn't know what I do. Like I said, that's a question I get a ton. I figured that kind of gives you some background info, and it'll make things moving forward a little easier to understand and comprehend. So all the things we covered in this video are things I do, to support myself. Obviously, not even scratching the surface of the things that I enjoy doing, but this kind of gives you some context of what I do, how I make money, and we can kind of go from there. I really hope that you liked this video. If you did, please do all the stuff. Oh, it pains me. It pains me so much to have to say all this. But I really need you guys to like, comment, and subscribe. If you like the video, if you want to see more of this content, if you're into me. If you're not, definitely don't bother doing any of that stuff. but subscribing to the YouTube channel, liking the video, sharing it with your friends, all that stuff helps me reach more people, which ultimately helps me reach my goals. So if you're into it, it would mean the world to me for you to do that, and we'll have another one up for you guys next week. Thanks for watching.